Well, manufacturing in the state today represents about 15% of the direct workforce. And that's a fairly substantial amount relative to any one sector of the economy. But the important thing about manufacturing is that it has the highest employment multiplier of any sector of the economy. And essentially what that means is that for every one of those direct jobs, there's another 2 to 3 jobs that are created in the surrounding economy to support those jobs. And when we look at automotive, which is one of our fastest growing sectors in the state, many people estimate that that's as many as 5 to 6 additional jobs. So manufacturing creates a lot more jobs than the simple numbers in manufacturing. Now, certainly manufacturing in our state has not been shielded from the downturn in the economy. And so we had a lot of manufacturers that went out of business, but many more simply downsized. They cut the number of employees, they cut the amount of activity that were going on until the economy began to recover. Now, if we look at manufacturing across the United States today, who is leading the United States out of the recession is manufacturing. And it has been growing very aggressively, and certainly we see that here in the state, both from the standpoint of the existing manufacturers here, but also from those that we've been able to attract into the state, which are manufacturers represented in what's called advanced manufacturing, which is using more technology in the workplace, more sophistication on the part of the workers that work in those plants. So we're replacing some of the lower tech, lower skill jobs with higher tech, higher skill jobs. And that's always a good thing because there's better salaries, better benefits, and it's really where we're going in the United States in terms of our role of manufacturing in the world. What we're seeing across the United States as a whole is that manufacturing is in fact growing in terms of production capability. Now, it's not going to hire as many people as we've seen historically, but manufacturing is indeed actually growing very quickly. And we see that here in the state, and we see that across the country as a whole. Basically, what we're looking at right now is many people are looking at the idea that we're the only industrialized country in the world that does not have a national manufacturing policy. So there's a great deal of discussion going around the country and in Washington on how we establish that kind of a policy, because it's important for several reasons to have a strong manufacturing base. One is national security, for example. The other is that over the recessional period of about 2.5 years, we lost 5.5 million manufacturing jobs in the United States. So when people talk about the impact on the middle class, that was the middle class. That were the kinds of jobs that were lost. And so a lot of people are talking about the manufacturing renaissance that we need to see in the United States. So we're certainly going to be pursuing that, working with our allies, such as the National Association of Manufacturers in Washington and others, to try to promote the growth of manufacturing in our country and certainly here in our state for many, many positive reasons, not the least of which are the creation of more good, high-paying jobs.
Mm-hmm.